right, so far we have been talking about different kinds of ways to elaborate our writing. For example, you can use some exact words, including like verbs, nouns, adjectives, or adverbs. And today we'll move on to another one, which is about good sentences. So we will talk about how we can develop our sentence in different ways. So let's take a quick look. So for the very first one, or the very first step, or the very first tip will be we can write different types of sentences. So firstly, I would like you to check what is the difference between these two passages. And before we get into this one, I would like to call someone to read the sentences for us first. So for the very first one, let's see. Jennifer, would you read the first one for us? I'd like to.
I like to look at the stars. I always look for the North Star. Once I saw a shooting star, I thought it was beautiful.
All right, and then we can move on to the second one. Let's have Youhua. Have you ever
noticed how many brilliant stars you can see? Look for the North Star. Once I saw a shooting star. It was so beautiful.
Okay, lovely. So let's take a look at these two sets of sentences, or let's take a look at these two passages. So which one do you think is better? The first one, the second one? What do you think? The second one, all right? But why the second one is better? Why is the second one better? Probably we can also name someone to answer the question. So let's have Vivian. Do you have any idea why the second one is better?
Because I think the first one was common, like the second one, it use a question, and it will 就是会让它看起来比较有变化。
Okay, exactly. So like the first one, you can see just like a statement, 就是好像都是很多指数句的感觉。But for the second one, there will be some questions and also even some comments like look for the North Star. So they will have this kind of imperative sentence, 就所谓的祈使句。And also they will try to make a statement into a question. So in this way, you can try to vary your sentence, or you can try to change the types of your sentences by using like making into like a question or command, for example. And besides, you can see the author also try to use some specific words, like adjective. Like for star, they use like brilliant stars to describe what the star like looks like, for example. And look for the North Star. Once I saw a shooting star, and it was so beautiful. And they also try to use certain kind of exclamation mark to highlight something in the passage. So to vary the way your sentences begin, you can use different subjects. Like the first one is just I, right? So just I from the beginning to the end. But for the second one, you can see in different sentences, he or she tries to use different kind of subjects to develop his or her ideas as well. And also you can add some transitional words. If next time we see some longer passage, probably you'll see someone use some kind of transitional words to say like first, second, then, and finally. And also you can try to rearrange your sentence parts to make it more appealing or more various in this case, all right? So we can move on to the practice we have here, and you can taste what you can do for this one, or you can try what you can do for this one. So for example, like this one, when the sun goes down, and then the following can make that one into an exclamation, command, and also command. So let's also have someone read the paragraph us first. So let's move on to the boy being C. Would you read this one for us? When the sun goes down.
When the sun goes down, the night lights come up. This is a beautiful sight to see. 括号要念吗？
No.
Oh, first, you might spend some time looking at the moon. Moonlight is sunlight reflected off the moon. Then you can move on to the twinkling light in the sky. The twinkling lights are stars. Some of the stars we see are more than 2.5 million light years away. You may notice pinpoints of light that do not twinkle. They are planets. The night sky is so beautiful.
All right, thank you so much. So we'll take a look at the paragraph of this passage together. So I would like you to rewrite the underlined sentences, trying to make each sentence into like an exclamation or a command or a question, all right? So I'll give you about 3 to 5 minutes to do so. So please take your time, and later on we'll check your answers together, all right? So please take your time to finish this one. I'll give you about 3 to 5 minutes. All right, so if you finish your writing, please raise your hand. So we only have 10 raised hands. 11. So if you are done with your writing, please raise your hand. And still need 3 more to 20. 2 to 20. 1 to 20. All right, so probably we can take a look at this one together. So basically, as you can see here, so here, this is a beautiful sight to see. So how can we make this one into a sentence of exclamation? Let's start. So there will be Sanyu. Can you share your answer with us?
What a beautiful sight to see.
Yes, exactly. What a beautiful sight to see, right? So probably we can type here. So there'll be this part. What a beautiful sight to see. Okay, what a beautiful sight to see. Let's try to make this one bigger. So what a beautiful sight to see. Okay. So if you want to know more about the sentences of exclamation, actually we have a chapter in your grammar book. It should be on page 210, okay, section 3, unit 5, 就是三至五的边. So if you forget how to make an exclamation sentence, you can try to get a quick review about this part, right? So there'll be more details about this one. So probably you can check on page 210 for this one. So try to vary or try to change your sentences into something like exclamation. All right, then let's move on. So for the second one, first, you might spend some time looking at the moon. So what might be the answer to this one? Let's take a look. Let's have Yi Zuo. Can you share your answer with us?
Which one?
For first, you might spend some time looking at the moon.
You should spend some time looking at the moon.
You should spend some time, but we want to make it into like a command.
What is command?
Like 祈使句, like stand up, go there. So it should be first.
Spend
Yeah, first spend
spend some time to
yes, and then
at the moon.
exactly. So first spend some time looking at the moon. Okay, so you can make this one like to an imperative sentence or like a command. So first spend some time looking at the moon, and then probably then let's have another one. Let's have should be 玉香. What might be your answer?
Then move on to the twinkling lights in the sky.
All right, so move on to the twinkling. Move on to the twinkling lights in the sky. Okay, move on to the twinkling lights in the sky. So, for example, like this one, if you want to give certain kind of instructions or you want to ask someone to do something, 有想要给他指令指示的话 you can make that one to a command, just like an imperative sentence, 就像祈使句一样。那注意一下，如果你第一句 first 你是这样用的话，我们基本上后面 then second finally 就会一致。We'll try to make it consistent from the beginning to the end. 那我们就会都把它改成所谓的 command, alright? And then let's move on to the next one. Some of the stars we see are more than 2.5 million light years away. So how can we change the sentence into something like an exclamation? Then let's go back to Jun, how? What might be your answer to this? Hello, hello. Junhao is gone. Then let's have Tingyu.
Which one?
Maybe you. So your answer.
Which one? Some of the stars there.
Yeah, some of the star we see. So how can you make this one into an exclamation? Dun, dun, dun.
Some of the stars. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Actually, this one is quite easy.
Okay.
So hard. No, you just have to use one step. So just make this one into an exclamation mark. Then you can make this one into an exclamation, all right? So for this kind of long sentences, basically it's impossible for you to make like what, da, 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 or how, da, da, da. So the very straightforward way for you to do so is that you can just put an exclamation mark in the end of the sentence. But for this kind of strategy, probably you can only use that once in your writing. 这方式你只能用一次哦，因为如果你每个都后面都惊叹号的话，那个惊叹号就不知道在惊叹什么了哦。所以他这边就是要强调说，哦 ，more than 2.5 million light years away. So which means really, really far away. So that's why you want to highlight the part. So that's why we can just simply put an exclamation mark in the end of the sentence, all right? But basically for this kind of exclamation, in your writing, basically we'll just use it just for once or no more than twice, okay? In your writing. Otherwise, you have too many things to highlight, all right? So please pay attention to the tip here. And then for the next one, you may notice pinpoints of light that do not twinkle. No, just the way we can do so anyway. Then, so let's go back to girls. Let's have Jiayu. So what might be your answer to this one?
Do you notice pinpoint of light that do not twinkle?
Yeah, probably you can say, do you notice pinballs of light that do not twinkle? Or if you want to really kind of highlight the highlight, have you ever 你有没有曾经怎样怎样怎样? So probably you can also use a way like, have you ever noticed? Have you ever noticed pinpoints of light that do not twinkle? That do not twinkle. So here you can also pay attention to the words the author used. So even though we are just like we are trying to describe stars. So in the writing we have here, they will use the word like stars, and also twinkling lights, and also pinpoints as well. So you can also try to use different kinds of words to describe the same thing or the same object as well. So for the last one, the night sky is so beautiful. Then let's have another 停语. 停语, another one. Hello.
Oi.
Hi. How can you make the sentence "The night sky is so beautiful" into a question? 我把它变成一个问句。
Is the night sky so beautiful?
So you think it's beautiful or it's not beautiful?
Yes.
Yes. Then how can you make it more beautiful? By using another kind of question.
The night sky is beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's the answer I want.
Oh.
Yeah, you are so smart. Then let's take this one. So you can also use this kind of question, right? The night sky. Otherwise, all the questions will look quite the same. All right. So there's another way you can try to make a sentence into a question. So you can say, the night sky is so beautiful. So you can 其实你看这些你们其实都会，只是不知道为什么你作文都写不出来。The night sky is so beautiful, isn't it? Right? 那 if you forget this one, like 应该是中文应该是附加问句还是什么？就是 tag question. Then you can take a look at page 26. Also, there's a part to talk about this one. All right, on page 26. All right, if you forget how to make that one into a question like that, you can take a look as well. Okay. 我的附加问句. All right. Then that's roughly about this one. So you can see, you can try to make a sentence into like an exclamation, a command, or a question. And then in this case, you will have different kind of subjects to begin your sentence or to start your sentence. Or you can also try to have different types of sentence in your writing. So that's the very first one. Then let's move on to the second one we have here. Right? So here, for these two articles or for these two passages, I would like you to tell the difference between these two. Before we get into the questions we are going to have here, let's have someone read the article for us first. So for the first one, I look for Aunt Linda. Let's have will be Yu Xuan. Would you read this one for us? I look for Aunt Linda.
I looked for Aunt Linda as I stepped off the train. I wondered where she was. I saw her standing outside the station. I raced over to her and we hugged.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. And then let's move on to the next one. Let's move on to boy. Hong Kai, would you read this one for us? Aunt Linda is planned.
Angelina explained, you are going like a week. We waited to the parking lot and found into her car. We talked about all sorts of things as we drove. I looked out the window at all the tall buildings.
Right, lovely. So we talk about all sorts of things as we drove. And I look out the window at all the tall buildings, right? And then move on to the next one. And there will be Lin Xuan.
We pulled up in front of my aunt's apartment building. I carefully climbed the stairs to her apartment. I didn't want to fall. I was so tired. I knew I needed a nap.
All right, so that's the very first part we have here. Then let's move on to the next one. Then move on to another boy. So let's have the Yixing. As I step off the train,
As I stepped off the train, I looked for Aunt Linda. Where was she? Finally, I saw her standing outside the station. It was so good to see her. We raced toward each other and hugged.
okay, roughly. Then let's move on to boy. You are growing like a weed. Boy, hello. Da-da-da. Then let's have Zequan. You are growing like a weed.
You're growing like a weed, Aunt Linda exclaimed. Then we walked to a parking lot and climbed into her car.
Climb into her car.
Oh, climb into her car. We talked about all sorts of things. I asked her about the tall buildings we were passing, and she told me their names.
All right, lovely. Then next one, let's have Ren Jie Sun.
Soon my aunt pulled the car up in front of her building. Carefully I climbed the stairs to her apartment. The last thing I needed was to fall. Boy, I was tired. Oh, boy, was I tired. A nap was certainly in store for me.
Okay, thank you, lovely. So what might be the difference, or what are the differences you can identify here? Anyone, any thoughts? All three, how do you think? Or what do you think? No idea. And how about let's have
Longer.
What do you say? Can you speak louder?
Longer.
Huh?
It's longer.
Longer. Yeah, for each sentence is probably longer, right? But how can we make a sentence longer?
Complex words.
So you can put some concrete words, right? You can put some details, right? Like you can use some specific verbs, adjective, or adverb. Yes, exactly. And what else? Let's have Lihua. What do you think? Or how about Clayton? What do you think?
Too straightforward.
Too straightforward. What do you mean by that?
They didn't like put a lot of like，就是它没有什么修饰的东西，就是说直接讲了。
You mean the one on the left hand side or the right hand side?
我觉得是右边。
So you think the right hand side is worse or better?
It's worse.
It's worse.
Oh no, it's better.
It's better. So that one is better. Why? Why that one is better? How about Hongjun? What do you think? Hongjun?
我觉得右边的比较好。
Why?
因为左边的感觉就像是我会写的简单暴力，想到什么就写什么。
So
然后右边就是你看哦，他这个第一段啊，他就写了很多，比如他写 I wonder where she was， 然后他右边就简单暴力 where was she， 看起来就很厉害，因为他把它隔开一句，用一个问号，哇塞，从来就不会这样子写，
Okay.
看起来就变得很高级这个文章。
So basically, you can also try like change the type of sentence. Like originally, probably just like a statement, and then you can make that one into a question or like a command or exclamation, just like the exercise we just did. And what else? 玉泉. What do you think?
就是就右边比较好，我觉得。
Why?
就因为就跟王文俊说的差不多吧，就是因为左边看起来就是刚刚有说到，就是看到第3段，他就是写的看到蛮多爱的，爱，然后就是一样修饰比较少，这边就是会想办法去，比如说换个句型去表达一些意思之类的，对。
I also change different kind of change. You try to have different types of sentences as well. And what else? 评论 what do you think?
我觉得也是右边比较好。
Why?
就是其实跟他们说的差不多，就是右边会比较去修饰，就是不是简单一次就想到怎么写什么那种感觉。
那他修饰什么？修饰什么？
就是他感觉就是不知道，感觉就比较厉害，就是问句感觉不太一样。
All right. And how about 玉凯 what do you think?
我觉得也是右边比较好。
Why?
因为左边他感觉一样是直接表达，然后就没有修饰，就是你看最后一句说什么 I knew I needed a snack， 左边是这样子很直接写，右边就是什么 A nap was certainly in store for me， 就他没有很直接说他需要一个小睡。对。
Okay. So basically, there are some of the ways you can try to tell or try to express your ideas, like including like the very first one we mentioned, you can have different types of sentences, and also you can try to elaborate your ideas with some phrases. or some exact words like verbs, nouns, adjective, or adverbs. You can also put some prepositions inside or in the beginning or in the end of the sentence. And also another way, you can try to put some transitional words or some adverbs to kind of organize your article in a clear way. For example, you can use the word soon, finally, then, right? And also you can use the word like carefully. Okay, you can move the adverb to the beginning to highlight the point you want to mention here. And by changing these kind of ways, just like we arrange the parts of sentence, originally probably you would just say, I carefully climbed the stairs to her apartment. But if you move carefully to the beginning, they will say, oh, that's really something I need to pay attention to. Right? So carefully, I climbed the stairs to her apartment. 那你就知道，他要特别强调，他是真的很小心的爬上去这样。All right. So that's also the way you can rearrange the parts of your sentence. Try to make certain kind of highlights, and also you will avoid your sentence type just like subject and verb and I from the beginning to the end. All right. So basically, that's all the information we're trying to deal with today. So do you have any questions so far?